Cheers. Good morning.
Morning, Julio.
Day one of this Appalachian adventure.
Can't wait to get it started.
That's right. Jerry knows this place like the back of his hand, all the history, and the not knowing what we're going to expect is what makes it even more fascinating and exciting, because he just comes up with things that you would never think to go see or do or learn about, and it's just like, wow, it leaves you just shocking.
Yeah.
Like the amount of knowledge and the history in this place.
He does love the West Virginia.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I'm really excited actually. This is the first time I get to drive on this trip. Taylor and I have been coming since the very first one, so.
Drivers meeting. All right, good morning, everybody.
All right, Jerry Band.
So, we always have a real good fire night. Last night was a good fire night, right? I think we all had a good time. So the place we're going today, guys, the parking lot is super, super small. And not only is it super small, but when we go to leave, or so as we come up a hill, it's going to be a real narrow road. It's blacktop, but it's real narrow. And then when we get to the top, there's a small parking lot. And then we're going to the Hatfield and McCoy Distillery. And he's going to talk to us a little bit about how he makes Hatfield McCoy moonshine. And he's probably the best in the state. If anybody wants to buy a bottle or whatever, completely up to you. We're going to make our way off of that sketchy ass mountain, and we're going to head toward Bear Wallow. And when we get to the trailhead, right, we're going to have to go in. Everybody has to go in and fill out your form, right? But Hatfield McCoy, they're not going to charge us. They're not going to make us get decals or anything like that. We'll get a wristband. And that's a one-day pass into the park, all right? So we'll get our wristbands, and then we're going to spend the afternoon. So in the park, there's probably 50 miles of green trails. We're going to run some green. But if you've ever been to Swiss, it's kind of similar to that. There's some sketchier stuff.
Yeah.
It's up to what you want to do, right? And I think what we'll do is just ease around through the woods in the afternoon. And when we're done with that, we're going to come back to the trailhead, so you can leave your trailer at the trailhead. And then I think we're going to leave the color or the Dodge too, because it's kind of newish and kind of narrow or wide. From there, we're going to head toward Chief Logan State Park. And Chief Logan State Park is, to me, one of the most beautiful parks in the state of West Virginia. It's why we did Tread Lightly Day kickoff there last year. We got a nice, pretty field. We're going to set up a nice, pretty field, and we're going to spend our last evening, and hopefully we'll get to bed earlier than we got to bed last night. All right? All right, guys, that's it.
So while all the Confederate guys here were out fighting, you had a gun and you were a man in the area, you were out fighting, which left the farms to be tended by the women and children, and nobody was there to protect the community and the farms. So the Union soldiers were passing through, and they were burning the crops, burning the homes, doing really bad things to the family members left behind. So when they got back from the Devil's Backbone incident, they said, screw this war. We've got to protect our community. So they created a militia group called the Logan Wildcats. This militia group, now you got to remember, West Virginia was part of Virginia. This was Logan County, Virginia, right? So West Virginia and Virginia is the only, West Virginia is the only state that was born from the Civil War. So you just had the West Virginia and Virginia secede and cut off, okay? So you had the border, you have a tribe border right here, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Virginia, right in this area. So the Logan Wildcats was formed by Dev Lance and a bunch of Confederate veterans who came together to create the local militia to protect the communities. Well, they actually even began being recognized by the governor as kind of the law and order in the area, protecting the border of West Virginia, the newly formed border, right? So now, you have the Logan Wildcats, a authorized legal law group on the West Virginia side that was able to try to maintain some sense of law and order in the area, and it was still eye for eye, tooth for tooth. It's like the Wild West, right? I mean, got a civil war going on in your own country. You're on 3 border states. This was a very crazy territory. So after the war was over, Dev Lance, of course, was part of the Wildcats, and then he came back and started a timber business. He was a farmer. So the second half of the home place down there, you can see is like a big field. That was his farm. And where we're standing, actually, he had a ginseng garden. So he was, and then the moonshine was done up here where the flag is up on the hill, right here behind. You'll see it back here. So they was in the moonshining, farming, ginsenging. Then he actually created a logging business. All right. So now during that, the Union captain wanted revenge for Dev Lance taking out his whole platoon. So he recruited his best known shot, a guy by the name of Asa Harmon McCoy, Randall McCoy's brother. And Asa Harmon McCoy and that captain set out to take revenge on Dev Lance. Well, they missed. So Dev Lance don't miss, right? So they ended up taking out the captain that day. But Asa Harmon McCoy did get away, and the Logan Wildcats hunted down Asa Harmon McCoy and killed him. And that's how the feud, that was the first Hatfield McCoy murder of the feud. And then about 10 years later, 10, 20 years, I can't remember, somewhere around in there, you had the Hog Trial case, which actually had nothing to do with Dev Lance. That was Randall McCoy and Floyd Hatfield, one of Dev Lance's far distant cousins. And then you had Dev Lance was in a law dispute, or a land dispute, excuse me, with Perry Klein, one of Randall McCoy's cousins. So Dev Lance was in dispute of 5,000 acres. So Perry Klein laid claim that it was his land. He bought it from, I think, Perry Klein's father. Perry inherited it or something. And then he said Dev Lance was illegally logging his land and all this stuff. Well, both of those court cases went to court within, I think, 2-3 months of each other. So when they did, the Hatfields won both court cases. All right. So then you had Asa Harmon McCoy's murder, and then you had the hog trial and the land trial won by the Hatfields. So you can see how it's starting to get nasty and built up, right? Well, then after that, you had the love story of John C. and Roseanne, where John C. fell in love with Roseanne McCoy. Dev Lance refused to let them marry because he knew it would just pour gasoline on the fire, and he wanted to respect Randall's wishes as well, so he refused their marriage. And then she ended up getting pregnant and had a baby, and it died not long after. I think it was maybe 8 months old or something like that. It was around a year old. And then not long after that, Rosanna even passed away. So she, unfortunately, they say she died of a broken heart between the baby and John C. But, you know. So John C. ended up marrying her cousin Nancy. Nancy, and he didn't ask for permission this time. He just went and done it. Nancy was the daughter of Asa Harmon McCoy, the first McCoy killed in the feud. Right? See how nasty this just keeps getting? So then you had an election day dispute. So Devil Ance's brother, he was in Pike County, Kentucky, at an election day festival, and 3 of the McCoy boys jumped him and stabbed him 27 times, shot him once. I think it was once. But he ended up, it took him days to bleed out. So during that, the Logan Wildcats captured those 3 McCoy boys, held them in West Virginia to make them, to make sure that they were held accountable for their crimes, but they weren't sure to charge them with murder or not until they knew if Devil Ance's brother was going to live or die. Well, he ended up dying, and this is where it gets nasty, nasty, nasty. So then you have to think. You just had the Civil War happen. You have states fighting for their rights, right? We don't have like United States and our federal government as we know it today. It was very different. So there was no such thing as extradition. That did not exist. So it was illegal to take someone across state borders to face charges for anything that happened outside that state. Okay? So the state of Kentucky was fighting with the Wildcats, saying, give us the 3 McCoy boys. The murder took place in Kentucky. We'll make sure they're held accountable, yada, yada, yada. Devil Ance was like, no, thank you. That's not going to happen. They'll never be held accountable. We will make sure they face their charges in Kentucky, but we will administer the death penalty. So they ended up tying them to what we call pawpaw trees on the Kentucky side of the river. So the river here, the Tug River, is the state line. Okay? So they tied them up on the Kentucky side, crossed the river on the West Virginia side, the firing squad, and shot across the river, shot across the border, which created a legal nightmare, right? I mean, you shot across borders that don't recognize each other. It was crazy. So they did send the McCoy boys home. He did, take them back to their mother and father, and for burial and whatnot. But he made sure that justice was served. So during that hog trial, you also had Bill Staten, and you had Asa Harmon McCoy's, or not Asa, sorry. There was a McCoy that was married to a Hatfield. His name's escaping my head right now, Selkirk McCoy. During the hog trial, Selkirk testified for the Hatfields. He was married to a Hatfield, but he was a McCoy. So he testified for the Hatfields. Happy wife, happy life, right? So they ended up trying to hunt him down and kill him. Well, Devil Ance actually kept him here on the property as well, hiding him out. Eventually, they got him up to Beckley, where the McCoys eventually found him and took their revenge and killed him. So then what happened was the governors started getting involved. Remember the legal nightmare? So the governors started getting involved. Well, Perry Klein and the governor of Kentucky put bounties on the heads of the Hatfields as political leverage to invade and take more land for Kentucky. They wanted to invade West Virginia and take southern West Virginia for Kentucky. So that was their leverage of doing so. So now you've got legal nightmares, and then now you have 2 governors fighting involved, 2 states fighting involved, right? So then you had all these bounty hunters starting to come in to try to capture the Hatfields. What best way to make your name in law enforcement than to capture the most notorious outlaws of the time, right? So then the family started having to watch their backs every single minute that they're awake, right, and asleep, from not only just McCoys, but bounty hunters that were coming in. So we really don't even know the true amount of people killed in the feud, because those bounty hunters and stuff, they weren't even named, right? I mean, we don't even know the full story, and we never will. And I'm not a historian, so I'm just telling you the family version, right? So there's a lot of arguments out there, and we could be here for 4 weeks, literally sitting here arguing it day and night, 24 hours a day.
Guys, well, appreciate you guys coming up to see us. We're up here on the mountain, just like Devil's Backbone. You know, everything's tucked away in the hills here. So this is Hatfield McCoy Moonshine Distillery and Bar and Grill. We operate a bar and grill on Fridays and Saturdays, but through the week we're a functional distillery. Actually, the first one in West Virginia, the only one to ever combined all three at the same time: a beer, wine, manufacturing, everything, grill, food, all that stuff. Been in business for about 13 years up here on the hill. We started in 2011, so probably around that mark. But this is the functioning side of the distillery. We can run about 1,000 gallons a day here. We don't, but we can. The fermentation's back here in the right-hand corner. This is where we ferment. We use all corn. We don't use wheats, rye, malts, barleys, none of that shit. We make moonshine. Straight corn liquor. So we ferment over here 7 to 10 days. Once it's done fermenting, we'll kick it over to the stills. These are the stills. The big one there is a 500 gallon. The one in the middle is 100. The one to the right's a 250. Like I said before, we can run roughly about 1,000 gallons a day, but we don't. We usually average 5 to 700. Thus, given if you run 500 gallon, you're shooting for about a 12 to 14% yield. So we're looking at 50 to 75 clean. So that's about the ballpark of what you're looking for. We have different spirits here. These are the ones that we push out everywhere. Couple of them. We got Straight White Lightning, which is just corn liquor. It's 90 proof. Finish is clean, all corn. This one's cinnamon. It's kind of like Fireball, but on steroids. So it's very good. It finishes smooth. It's not a thick like Fireball. It's not a liqueur. It's moonshine, cinnamon flavored moonshine. This one is barrel finished whiskey, 7 months old. So we barrel finished the Devil in a barrel for 7 months. This one is our famous double barrel 4-year-old bourbon. This is the one that's on Fox News. This is the one that got a TV show out about it. And second season actually premieres September the 9th of this year on Fox News. But you guys are more than welcome to sample anything you want. Samples are always free here. Just let me know what you'd like to try and we'll sample it on.
All right, give him a hand, guys. Hey, this guy with the helmet on, his name's Julio. You sell him nothing. All right.
He's our special friend.
Woo!
Once these guys pop out, you guys will be in the lead, right? Because we'll be behind you. I'll be behind your exit. You guys will pop out and you'll be leading from there on, and we'll just go around the corner. I don't know where I'm going. Yeah, well, I'll lead you. It's just around the corner, and we'll be hitting the next one because that puts you guys in the front that want to go do double barrel. Or, double barrel, right? If not, you can bypass, but I don't want to have to. We'll just lead you in the front. Okay. So for there, that's the deal. Let's all hop in, channel 15, and let's get in the park.
Who's going with me and who's not?
Take them first. Take them first. Hey.
So this is Chris and he's Rig.
Hey, how's it going?
What do you have yet, Chris?
This is a 24 Can-Am Maverick R. Yeah, long name.
Most difficult.
What's going on? Y'all ready to yee today? And hit these trails?
We are.
We're gonna see what this Willis can do up here. I heard the driver's, mediocre at best. We're out here at the cooler. As you can feel the temperature difference here coming out of the hole here. And Rodney's stuck at the top of the hill. Rear locker's not working. And he's giving her hell, bouncing it off the rev limiter. Taylor, who's a fantastic spotter, is up there helping out. So hopefully we can get through here and give her some hell.
But again, the camera doesn't do this yield justice, as always.
No, it never does.
Yeah, I can stay here.
It's natural air conditioning, man.
God.
That's why
That was so weird, just like moving from here to there.
you feel it. Call it the cooler.
Jeez, like, look at this natural air conditioning unit.
Oh, feels good. I was wondering where all the smoke was.
Ooh. So I'm here with Chris. He's just telling me some of the specs of his buggy.
Yep.
It's 1,000cc.
Yep, 999 cc's, 3 cylinders, turbocharged, 240 horse, 7-speed gearbox. It's a blast.
240 horses.
And a little buggy, you know? That's wild.
Have you been on this trail, Chris?
I've never been on Hatfield, ever.
Oh.
Yeah. So, we'll see how it goes. It's mine and your first. You know what's wild? Like, when it comes to really big rocks, your guys with your 40s and bigger tires seem to excel. This does well in like ruts, tight section. It doesn't do good over the huge rocks.
Or the big obstacles.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the size of the tire on this one now?
35.
35s?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, like.
Yeah. So that should be able to handle it.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, damn, you're running 32s. Now 32s are like roller skates, you know?
Yeah.
Cheers, buddy.
you gotta get your front end over that way because you're so narrow that your rear tire, your trailing arm is bottoming out on a rock. So your rear tire needs to be that way, like that far, and you can just walk it right up.
Gotcha. He's got the best set of eyes here. I can't hardly see anything out of this thing.
Straight? Straight, because there's a tree here, so go straight where you're at. Yeah, there you go. You had it. Like, that's the line that you need to take.
Good?
Can you see this tree?
That one?
This one right here.
Yeah.
You need
Hug
to
it?
be right here. Hang on, now turn this way. Now come forward.